Hello, everyone, in episode 155 of the AllYouCanHear podcast. I'll be your host today, Patrick, and joining me today are my two quarantine co-hosts.
It's Jonathan.
And Cannon has returned for his 8th episode on the AYCH podcast. I don't know how letters work. I apologize.
Your 8th time on the show. You are now the new most prolific guest in AYCH history.
Boo! Justin, where you at, bro? Defend your belt, cuz. No, I'm kidding. We can't defend belts because we've been on lockdown for what seems like 12 years.
And it seems like it's going to be 12 more.
And that's kind of the theme of today's episode is that we're all locked up tight. We're kind of just doing, either going to just only go to work at grocery stores or maybe not even leaving your house. We're still trying to get by and trying to occupy ourselves the best way we can. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Like, what have we been doing in isolation, in quarantine? Just talking about some of the stuff we've been watching, playing, and just sort of doing to sort of pass the time and keep, existential dread from entering the forefront of our minds.
Stuff, fucking excitement.
And
staring at four walls.
So some of the stuff I've been watching lately, I'm getting back into the TV shows now, and one of my big things I got back into was Narcos Mexico, because I started Narcos last year. I actually started with the Mexico season first, and then went back, which is season 4, and went back and watched the first 2 seasons, and then now I'm going back to watch season 5, and it's really good.
Wow, there's 5 seasons of Narcos right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I started that show. I've only seen the first season. I thought it was great. I don't know. I guess life happened, and I just didn't continue on with season 2. It's one of those shows that I want to get back to. Even before the quarantine, I've been so far behind. Like, I still haven't seen a big chunk of the shows I want to see. I haven't seen the last season of Punisher, Daredevil. I'm behind on Orange is the New Black, Glow. I'm just a mess. This is the best time to do it, and yet I still haven't watched them. So it's on me at this point.
It's one of those things where I feel like we're just paralyzed by choice because there's so much to do. And I don't know about y'all, but usually when I get in moods like this, I'll just kind of panic and then just not do anything.
Yes, I'm guilty of that.
And just kind of fucking on my phone or spending 5 goddamn hours on TikTok.
I will say, because Ken, you're sort of new to the TikTok in the group, and you sort of took to that like a duck to water.
Yeah, I was highly against TikTok because I wasn't aware that it's basically become a new Vine. All the ads that I saw for it back in the day were just lip-syncing duets and shit like that.
Well, that's what it was, and then it radically changed.
And as Patrick says, I have taken to it like a duck to water. I have found myself sitting on the couch just scrolling, and then a whole hour passes, and I'm like, oh my God, what have I been doing?
TikTok is this huge time suck for me. It's especially bad because I don't get on periodically. And then I have 200 messages on TikTok, and about 100 of them are always from Jonathan.
Hey, I've been slowing down. I'm in rehab for my TikTok sending. So.
Because Jonathan was much like Cannon, just kind of apprehensive, I don't know this for me. And then the second he gets on, it's just his favorite thing in the world.
No, because Jonathan was the one who pretty much convinced me on it. He's like, dude, have you downloaded TikTok? I was like, no, I have not. And I'm not going to. And here we are now.
Famous last words.
At that Cannon guy on TikTok. Haven't recorded one yet. I've been thinking about it, but I haven't just yet. I planned on doing one for Austin 316 Day, March 16th, for all of you who don't know. Just the standard. I was going to wear my Austin 316 shirt, take a couple of beers, and I was going to ask you if you'd take a stunner for me, but it just didn't happen.
I actually, going back to that, I actually thought about maybe posting that stunner I gave you a couple of St. Patrick's days ago.
Oh, hell yeah.
Was that when you broke your vape in your pocket?
No, that was back at our old place, and that was for a takeover.
Yeah.
Because we used to get together and watch NXT TakeOver and have a big blowout party and just drink it far too much. And then that night I hit Cannon with the stunner, and then he busted his vape.
I hit a stunner on somebody because it was in my back pocket, and I forgot that it was in my back pocket. I must have been highly inebriated because, you're landing on your ass, and I still had that giant box mod, so I can't believe I didn't feel it. And then I go outside to vape, and I put my hand in my back pocket, and something kind of scratches my hand. I'm like, ow, what the hell was that? And I pull it out, and I literally try to hit my vape. Somehow, it's still intact, but the whole tank is shattered, and it's just like covered in my vape juice. And
Well, granted, you have been drinking a lot of Jaeger that night.
oh, yes.
Oh man.
But no, the time I hit Cannon with a stunner, that was St. Patrick's Day maybe 2 years ago.
At the pub, right?
Yeah, as at our usual pub spot. And I super kicked him in the stomach, and I stunnered him, and this like that was the thing. That was the first year I wore my kilt to St. Patrick's Day too.
I think it was like one of the bartenders or somebody walked by. He was like, "Get off the fucking floor" or something like that.
It's like you're welcome for us to liven up the mood.
I'm so glad Bob doesn't work there anymore.
This is a very local thing.
Yeah.
Complaining about the management of our local bars.
He was a fucking shithead, and I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah.
All right, so what have y'all been watching? Because I talked about Narcos Mexico, and it's like, because I've been kind of watching that off and on because it's really good, but it's like really dense, and it's really heavy subject matter. You know, people being killed by the cartel, and just like a lot of gore and violence. So like, I need to kind of watch that in bursts. So because it's just kind of like it kind of weighs on it, just like how awful drugs are, and the distribution of drugs can be. So I need to like balance that with something. So what are some of the things y'all have been watching?
After watching Tiger King, I kind of got on a true crime documentary kick and finally watched at least the first season of Making a Murderer. Goddamn. Like that one guy in Tiger King said, I'm a libertarian, so fuck the feds.
Yeah.
That is just a... By the way, I'm not a libertarian. But, like, yeah, it will make you lose faith in the justice system. And granted, you can tell, like with Tiger King, the documentarians definitely have a slant and a bias, but at the same time, you really feel bad for Stephen Avery just for the amount of shit he went through, and more so the kid they convicted.
Yes,
with him, like that. Like as someone who has a special needs brother, that really fucking pissed me off because the cops bullied him into a confession.
Yeah, that was really fucked up.
And I mean, and honestly, like it's like 100% legal for cops to do that.
It's just funny you bring that up because I know at the time that was the Tiger King of its time. That was the first Netflix original show that I remember like blowing up just across the board of people talking about it. Because a buddy of mine named Slade mentioned it to me. Man, have you seen Making a Murderer yet? I was like, no, not quite yet. And I watched it, and yeah, that was that big boom. Comes like to the true crime thing. There's one, I think, docuseries I've been meaning to talk about. Well, meaning to watch, I should say, is Evil Genius, I think is what it's called.
That sounds right.
Yeah, apparently it's about this guy who these people strap a bomb to him, like almost like Jigsaw style with like an explosive collar, and just make him like rob a bank. Or like, yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I've been meaning to. But like you, I've been getting on a true crime kick here lately. I don't know how to talk today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that even goes for like fictional shows as well, because we'll get to another season of this show, but I've been I finally started watching the third season of True Detective that came out last year, and oh boy, I got 3 episodes left. Goddamn, it's good. It's a lot of people say it's very similar to season 1, and there are definitely some similar beats it hits, but it definitely has like the characters are very different and deals with very different issues. Like one of the things, and this isn't really a spoiler, you kind of learned this in the first episode. Wade, Mahershala Ali's character, in the 2015 timeline, is suffering from like Alzheimer's or dementia or something like that.
Oh wow!
So like there's like this weird like playing with time and stuff, and it's not so much that he's an unreliable narrator, but it jumps between I want to say 1980, 1990, and 2015, and especially in the 2015 timeline, he's like seeing shit, and it's just apparently this case just fucked him up so bad. But his partner is played by Stephen Dorff, old Blade from Old Blade. So
because we were talking about the other day, just like the weird like Blade angle that's in that third season. Because Mahershala Ali is cast as the new Blade in the MCU movies, and you have an actor from the OG Blade, you know, basically the start comic book movies as we know them today was with Blade back in, 2000, 1999?
It was 97, I think.
Yeah, it was like 97 or 98. And, like, I'm surprised we have not seen Stephen Dorff in more shit. Like, he is a fucking phenomenal actor.
The last thing I saw that man in was an advertisement for Blue e-cigs.
Yeah.
You remember?
And I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. Like, I know him from Blade, but he has to be in other things. And, like, I was looking on his IMDb, and the movies he was in was not a lot. I was like, wow, you must have made some really bad choices, because it was like a lot of like made for TV movie shit.
Yeah, like straight to DVD stuff like that.
Yeah, or like he was in Cecil B. Demented, which was a John Waters movie, which we'll get to probably.
Yeah, we might have a special conversation for that.
Back on the subject of how do you say his first name again? Ali.
Mahershala
Ali. I've never been more excited. I never popped so hard for somebody throwing on a cap in my life, because like when at that Marvel conference when Feige, I think his name is, who was
Kevin
like,
Feige.
He's like, hey man, I think you have a hat to show everybody, and he throws on a hat and it has the new Blade logo on it. I fucking lost my mind. It was great.
God, and I know I was talking about Stephen Dorff, but Mahershala Ali, like, he's probably like the best actor of this generation. Just especially with this season of True Detective, there's just a lot of really subtle things he just does with his face that I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. He makes it seem effortless, but it's just these little tiny, minute things that it's like, fuck, this is so good.
The level of muscle control on that man's face puts everybody else to shame.
Yeah, and it's so weird because, like, the character, it depends on what version of the character he's playing, but especially the 1980s and 90s timeline, I wouldn't say stoic, but he's definitely more emotionally closed off. But even with just kind of being more, like, stoic and brooding, you really see him holding back all those emotions on his face. And then one thing I was kind of worried with this season was sort of how it dealt with race, especially with most of it being set in like the 80s and 90s. And, you know, the showrunner, Nick Pizzolatto, is a white guy, and that usually doesn't work out. But and granted, I'm not the authority to speak on that, but I think they've done a really good job.
Do you think the main comparison of season 3 to season 1 is solely because of the time jumps, maybe?
It's definitely the time jumps. There's the dynamic between the two detectives. It's not the same. It's more buddy cop than, say, the first season. Because, you know, the first season they were very antagonistic through basically the entire season. And there's definitely some friction between Mahershala Ali's character and Stephen Dorff's character, especially a lot of the racial stuff. But, like, at the end of the day, they're ride or die for each other, and it's a really awesome bromance to see.
I've only seen I've obviously since season 1. I watched season 2. Granted, it's not the same as season 1. I don't really shit on it as hard as a lot of other people do. It's not a bad show, in my opinion. It's just not as good as season 1. Like, the things that I enjoyed about it were Vince Vaughn in a dramatic role again, because we haven't seen that in a very long time.
A very long time.
And I've always been a big Colin Farrell fan. I thought he did a really good job in his role in the show.
He's a really underrated actor.
He is. He really is. He was my pick before. Oh, well, never mind. I'll wait and talk about this. I just realized I had a show to talk about on mine, because I was worried. I was like, I really have been watching a lot of TV shows here, but now I got one. Colin Farrell, for the longest time, was my pick to play Cassidy in whatever adaptation of Preacher they were going to do, whether it be movie or TV show, because that comic property was in limbo for like well over a decade. Oh, it's going to be a movie. We're going to make it a show. We're not going to do either. And then it finally happened.
Yeah. I think with season 2, True Detective, it was there was definitely a quicker turnaround, because Nick Pizzolatto spent years crafting the first season.
Right.
And then it's like the next year we got to get that season out. And from what I've heard, people said it's not bad. It's just not on the quality of season 1, which I think it's kind of unfair because the first season is so good that, like, I mean, like, season 3 is excellent, but even it doesn't, to me, and I guess it's because the first season exists. It just nudges up there, but it doesn't come close to the first season.
Plus, I'm a huge mark for Woody Harrelson, so you put him in anything, and I'm just about there.
Yeah.
Because that's something for me, because they've been watching season 1 with me the last couple of weeks, kind of off and on. And this is my first time with the series, and I didn't know anything about it going in other than just like its claim. And we left off in episode 5, so there have been like some pretty significant things that have transpired by this point. But it's funny to see like low-key watching Jonathan and Cannon watch me watch the show.
yeah, because Pat is a very like responsive watcher to stuff, so like there will be big parts coming up and I'll just be like kind of out of the corner of my eye checking his reaction, especially like that fucking, I think it's the end of episode 4, the single take, and I'm just like, fuck,
because I had the idea of just kind of pop in, pop out, because I love the first season of True Detective. But as soon as Jonathan hit play, my ass was on that couch for the rest of the ride. I was like, damn it, I'm watching it again. It's so good.
Because just from the start of the show, just like the intro is like very, it's like the music and the opening song is very catchy, and just the cinematic of the opening sequence of like the overlays of the characters and like, I guess, events and sort of sequences. That's just a great thing. And the closing shot of the intro of just like the fire and the cross and the crosshair, and the embers, that's just a great shot. And just seeing the characters like Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey go through their journey and just like it's just really like enthralling, and it's like harrowing. And seeing in different points of their life, because like in the third season, there are multiple timelines that the show jumps between. I feel it's well established at this point that Matthew McConaughey has like serious chops as an actor, and just sort of seeing his like emotional and physical transformation across the show is very shocking and very engaging. Although I will say, as much as I enjoy watching these characters, goddamn, does Matthew McConaughey's character get on my nerves at times? Because maybe, spoiler, Matthew McConaughey's character, he's exorbitantly smart, he's extremely intelligent, and like very capable of picking up the nuances of whatever crime scene. But he's also very like nihilistic and
pessimistic.
So, but there's different moments where he'll go into like this spiel of just like, oh, life is meaningless, there's no God, and blah 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 blah, and I'm just kind of like, shut the fuck up, god damn it, because there's so many moments. There's one in particular. I think they're at a tent revival.
Yes,
he goes on he makes some really good poignant observations about the world and organized religion. There's like those are good points. But at the same time, I want to jump out a goddamn window because it's just so overbearing at times.
Well, I will. You are right on all accounts, but I will, in defense of that character, he did lose his daughter.
Then like, I don't want to get too much into spoilers.
Oh fuck, that is a spoiler. Sorry.
I put a spoiler on the episode title.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and then he's undercover in narcotics, and that really fucks him up. And it's like you understand, but like I'm sort of like the first time I watched it, I was kind of not to the extent, because I haven't like lost a daughter or seen like that level of the abyss. But like when you like lose your religion and you kind of get into that mindset of like, fuck everything, man. The world's just a fucking cesspit. and I remember that really speaking to me. And granted, where the show goes, I think really kind of helped me get out of that. But like, I'm with you a lot of times. I'm like, God damn, he's such a fucking edgelord.
Do you think that comes in a way of him becoming a really good detective? Do you think that correlates in any way on how he feels about the world? Makes him, I guess, in his mind, see it a little better. That's he's able to like close cases and whatnot.
Yeah, because and The show definitely implies that because because he thinks so differently from the rest of everyone else. Because just like, and I think the show would not work as much if you didn't have Woody Harrelson.
Oh yeah,
where he's just like, man, I need you to shut the fuck up.
It's like, man, you wanted me to talk, I'm talking. Yeah, and now I'm begging you
to shut the fuck up. What did I say? The car is now a place of silent reflection.
Because they have a really great like back and forth. Like there are times they really do work well together as sort of a balance. But at the same time, there's a very like entertaining animosity between the two. How Woody he's obviously good at his job, but he's definitely not at the same level of, I guess, like higher thinking as Matthew McConaughey. So he's definitely much more grounded and approachable and sort of like how he interacts with people and just sort of like general living the life. But at the same time, like it's just, I guess he sort of represents the viewer in a sense of like how sort of oppressive like just a deeply intelligent and deeply attached person may come across. And I do like as much as that works for his like investigative skills as a detective, it's also extremely overbearing. And there's a great bit where Matthew McConaughey character says, "Shut the fuck up, Nietzsche," to a character. And I'm like, not calling the kettle black here, motherfucker. Look in the mirror sometime.
Oh yeah, where the time's a flat circle. Shut the fuck up, Nietzsche. But yeah, to answer your question, I think that does lead to him being, I guess, a better detective. And I think one detail that, like in the first scene, that really helps differentiate him from everybody else is everybody else has like a little small like notepad to take notes on, and he has this like fuck all sketchbook that he's like drawing, these elaborate depictions of whatever the crime scene is.
I've legit been looking for a decent ledger for like years now because I love yellow legal pads for some reason. I don't know why. I just love them. I'll if I see like a pack of 5 at a store or something, I'll be like, well, fuck it, I'm buying it because you never know. I use them, keep notes and keep up to date on my comics and shit like that. But well, on the show end, I finally got to finish Preacher. Its final season.
Okay,
4.
how'd that go for you?
Oh,
I'm pissed.
Are you mad? Oh no,
I'm so mad.
I was there when him and Liz were watching it, and he just comes out of the room and he's like, "Fuck this show!"
Like I said earlier, Preacher is my favorite comic book of all time. And I've read it so many times, and I'm planning on reading it again here soon because Liz, thank you again. Got me the greatest gift ever, like the complete holy shit edition of Preacher and these beautiful hardback books. But for those who don't know, I'll try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. But the book and the show is about this preacher named Jesse Custer who finds himself, basically, for lack of a better phrase, the Word of God. This power source called Genesis, like, escapes heaven and comes down and just gets inside his body. And if he wants to, if he wills it, he can tell somebody to do something and they have to do it. There's no stopping them. Like, whenever I describe the book to somebody, spoilers for the book, of course, there's a part where there's this really asshole preacher, not preacher, real asshole sheriff, and Jesse, the preacher, has had enough of his bullshit. So I think this is before he realizes the kind of power he has, because he tells I keep saying preacher, he tells the sheriff to go fuck himself, and he cuts off his own dick and shoves it up his asshole.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and and he also has his on again, off again girlfriend Tulip along for the ride. And they eventually meet this, I guess, well over 100-year-old Irish vampire named Cassidy, who Cassidy is my favorite character in the show version, at least. I forgot his name, but he was in Misfits. Misfits was the only show that I'd seen him in. God, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. But I finally finished that show. Now, I've been watching the show for 4 years now. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, best friends. They've done a lot of movies together, and they're huge fans of the book. They finally got the show made, and AMC picked it up. And when I saw that first trailer, not even the first trailer, that first just title screen of Preacher with the church upside down, and I was like, oh my God, it's finally fucking happening. And I knew that they were going to take liberties with the show. Like, their parts in the show, they've either switched around from the book or, like, different parts take place at different times. And, like, without spoiling anything, I'll just say, like, it really comes off like, okay, this is going to be the final season, guys, so you're going to have to just make it work. And it seems like they took so many ideas, crumbled it into a ball, and was just like, here you go, we're done. And again, I knew they were going to change things and take liberties, but the end is just unbearable. Oh. Like, it's I call it the How I Met Your Mother syndrome, because I watched all of How I Met Your Mother, loved the show, and then you get to that last season, and something's just weird. Something is off. And then, at the end, I mean, fuck it, the show's been a thing for years. When, oh God, the mother actually dies, and, oh, he ends up with Robin anyway. That was just dumb to me. That was just fucking stupid. And that season ruined the rest of the show for me. So even if, like, reruns of the older seasons are on TV, I won't watch it. And I feel like this season of Preacher has done that for me. As much as I love Preacher, I don't know if I can do it again. My heart has been shattered into a million pieces.
Yeah, that was how I felt with the end of Game of Thrones. Like those final 2 seasons were just, God. I'm not getting off on that tangent right now, but David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are like some of the most creatively bankrupt dudes in Hollywood right now.
And that's why they didn't deserve Star Wars, and they'll never get it now.
Yeah.
I don't know. They probably would have done a better job than the last one we saw. This is coming from somebody who's not really a big fan of Game of Thrones, but I think...
Yeah, well, Rise of Skywalker was bad.
Pissed!
Months later, we're still mad. We're talking about it again, how much we're still mad.
Man, that's nothing. I'm still mad about Justice League. Justice League just lights a fire under my crack, man. I'm just fucking ready to fight.
God, I saw Batman v Superman. I'm like, I think I want to skip out on these DC movies.
I know with Batman and Superman, like, it wasn't great, but there's still, like, for me, there's some stuff, like, some nuggets in there that I kind of like.
Yeah, I agree, too. It was just that there's some fucking goofy ass shit they were trying to pass off as, like, poignant, like the Save Martha! Why did you say that name?
Like that movie, I will say Batman v Superman gets a pass from me. I'm not saying it's a great movie by any means.
Yeah.
And I will say the whole Martha thing, I completely spaced out on the fact that Clark Kent and Bruce Wayne's mom had the same name.
No, me too. Like,
I forgot about that.
It's like that is a neat connection. It's just maybe the way to use it might not have been as profound as they meant it to be.
I feel like the thing that ruined that, just my opinion, was Ben Affleck's reaction. Like you said, why did you say that name? Why did you say? And then, like, they just, they're friends now.
Yeah.
Like, if they would have went a different direction with that, it probably would have worked a little better.
Yeah, and I think it's Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. If they went with either Batman v Superman or The Dawn of Justice, I think it would have been a much better movie. Not try to cram, like, 5 major DC stories into one movie.
I mean, that's all on DC and Warner Brothers because they've literally been trying to play catch up and with Marvel, and there's no doing that at this point.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to start a cinematic universe, you got to do what Marvel did, and they put years into getting to the Avengers.
It is sort of funny. I know between the DC movie verse and DC TV verse, they definitely have their, like, pros and cons and sort of, like, their own feelings, but, like, the DC TV verse definitely did a much better job of, like, establishing their smaller pieces before getting to, like, their big, crossover piece. Yeah. So however you feel about that is obviously what was more successful.
Which is weird because, like, I didn't watch all of it. I actually started watching the Crisis on Infinite Earths event mega crossover that they did. I didn't watch it all, but mainly because I kept getting fucking spoilers in my news feed about it. So, but they had little cool things in there, but goddamn, they had some deep fucking cuts. Like, they brought back, what's her name? It's the daughter of Batman and Catwoman.
From the
Birds of Prey show. But they literally bring her back for an opening scene where, like, throughout this miniseries, this event, all these universes are getting destroyed. And then when they cut to, it's the very opening scene, they get there and she's running from something, and she's talking to Oracle, like, Oracle, the thing is happening, and then all of a sudden it's just like Thanos snapped and she's gone, and that's the last you see. Like, they found some fucking, like, the little things they added, like they had Burt Ward, the Robin from the 66 TV show, in Earth 66, I might add. I thought that was pretty funny. They got, I don't remember his name, but Vicky Vale's reporter partner from the first Tim Burton Batman movie. He was in it.
Oh, wow.
And, of course, Brandon Routh in a Superman suit again, which, Superman Returns didn't suck because of him. It wasn't his fault. That movie just sucked, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't care for that movie either, but I don't have anything hard against Brandon Routh.
But seeing him in the Kingdom Come Superman outfit was pretty fucking rad. I'm not going to lie.
They even had, what's his name from the Smallville TV show, Superman.
That's right. And some flannel and blue jeans. And apparently he doesn't have powers anymore. So I didn't watch all of Smallville. I don't know what the story is with that, but
I think the only episode I saw of Smallville was when Doomsday showed up. Like, I had never seen an episode of Smallville. I just happened to catch it one night. And that one episode was enough to piss me off not to watch anymore. Because you have Doomsday show up, which this is supposed to be Superman when he was a young man, so like prequel, but like at this point they ran so long they had to kind of get into like the deeper stuff. So.
Yeah, because it ran for like 10 fucking seasons.
He had Smallville, Superman. He's fighting Doomsday, who is Sam Witwer, by the way, Starkiller, Darth Maul. He's like fighting him, and then he kills Jimmy Olsen. But then it turns out the Jimmy Olsen we knew the whole time was twin brother of the real Jimmy Olsen or some bullshit. Because they're played by I can't remember his name right now, the guy who played Iceman in the X-Men movies, because they're twin brothers.
Yeah. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I can't remember.
He kills him with like a...
God, he was Jimmy Olsen. I forgot about that.
And then he dies, and then like... Swerve, twin brothers back, also the same name. I don't know. I only saw one episode. So apparently he beats Doomsday by just kind of tackling him into like a factory and exploding it, and that's the whole fight. And Doomsday's just trapped under like miles of concrete forever now. Yeah,
I started watching Smallville like as it was airing way back in the day. Mm-hmm. And then I fell off, and I didn't really start watching it then either. But my roommate in college had damn near all of the seasons on DVD.
Oh, wow.
And I would just, occasionally pay attention to what I was like, wow, this show actually got a little bit more tolerable. Because, those first 3 seasons, it's basically, like the villain of the week, which strangely enough, 2 of the 3 sons from Home Improvement played villains in there. Like, if they could have just signed Jonathan Taylor Thomas on at one point, they could have had the trifecta. I think another TV show, I think all of us have been keeping up with a little bit, Dark Side of the Ring on Vice.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all more so than me, but I've been sort of like keeping abreast of it.
Yeah, I want to take this moment to say how proud I am of Jonathan and getting into wrestling. We got our little wrestle baby over here. And
because like the last few months, because we've been watching a lot of AEW, and he's sort of been on this journey of learning more into wrestling and getting more into it. And it's really fun to watch someone get into something that we're all very passionate about, and him having a genuine interest and following for it. And that's been really cool.
And that's another show like AEW. Technically, you're still on the ground floor because this has only been a company since like October.
Yeah, like, and that was sort of the thing, because like it's kind of similar to comics in the sense of it's like at least before AEW it's like, well, where the fuck do you start type of thing. But like having a good starting point and it's actually really fucking good, it was just like, okay, and it's easy to just jump into.
But yeah, Dark Side of the Ring is a documentary series on Vice telling some backstage and real life details about significant characters, people, and stories that have happened in wrestling. I didn't get to watch season 1, but season 2 just started a few weeks ago, and they kicked it off with the Chris Benoit murder-suicide, and oh man, that was tough, considering I was a huge Chris Benoit fan growing up, and then one day on the news he's just like all of a sudden dead. And then the next day, we find out, also his wife and kid are dead. The next day, also, Chris Benoit murdered his wife and son, and then himself. And like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just the level of progression, like how it was kind of slow for that story to come out. And then, WWE, they do that fuck all, like, memorial to him. And then, like, the next day, it's like, oh, yeah, he's a murderer.
Because I watched that shit live. Like, I watched the memorial show, and then the next day, the shitty ECW that WWE fucking shoved down our gullet. Vince McMahon, I forgot about this. Vince McMahon showed up on Monday Night Raw to give the speech about the Benoit Memorial episode, while in storyline on WWE television, Vince McMahon's supposed to be dead.
Because literally the night before, part of his story, he has like this, he's like this weird, like, kind of fixed, like, fugue state. He walks from his office throughout the studio, passing by wrestlers and like, hey, what's going on? What's wrong with you, boss? And he just kind of ignores them all, gets into a limousine that's waiting for him, gets into the car, and then it immediately explodes.
Just fucking blows up.
And then it's like, not really dead, guys.
And then it was like a week or two later, the Benoit thing happened. I mean, you know, wrestling, we knew he wasn't fucking dead. We're just like, okay, where's this going? Because even I was like, okay, his limo just blew up. That's kind of a real dramatic way to write yourself off TV for a little while, because we know you're going to come back at some point. We're like, but my Jimmy's really got rustled during the New Jack episode, which I fucking can't stand New Jack. I have a video about New Jack on my YouTube channel, which I haven't made a video in like goddamn 4 years, but I basically like told about all the matches that they discussed on the documentary. So Vice fucking pay me. No, I'm kidding. This was all like public knowledge already, but goddamn New Jack, and like all the people that are trying to defend New Jack online here lately just because like he was kind of good on the mic a little bit, which he was, I'll give him that, but the man wasn't a wrestler. He literally, his whole gimmick was just, hey, I'm going to hit you with things, and then if you piss me off, I'm going to stab you with sharp objects.
Like literally, like not like I'm fake stabbing you.
Yeah.
No.
Like this man, like he would get mad at somebody, like they would like disrespect him somehow, like
or perceived slight disrespect.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is like even the things where it's like, okay, I can understand why you're mad, but like there's no reason for you to be this fucking extra and like nearly scalp a kid. Like that made me physically ill watching that footage.
Yeah, the mass transit incident is definitely the most infamous story in New Jack's career. That almost like stopped ECW's run before it even started. Like they were finally getting momentum. They were finally going to get a pay-per-view, and that incident actually got their pay-per-view postponed, and it almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
But in '97 they finally got a pay-per-view, and just a little shit. Like I understand, like I know I'm not a wrestler or anything, but you know I'd like to think, you know, from everything that I've read or heard, that I can kind of understand like certain aspects of what goes on and whatnot. And I can kind of understand that like a quote-unquote rookie coming up to a veteran, like suggesting things to do, you know, kind of a little bit of disrespect maybe, but, you know, all you really have to do is be like, hey, man, don't worry, I got this. We'll figure it out and whatnot. But no, instead, you know, and I will say that one match, I think it happened, what was it, like, I don't know, that guy who claimed that New Jack can cook spaghetti real good, his promotion.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, oh, man, well, our company was really picking up momentum. There were like 10 fucking people in the crowd. And I guess the guy threw a potato at New Jack. A potato is a wrestling term for actually hitting somebody. So New Jack, now I'd understand getting mad. Like, just give him one back. Don't fucking stab him 9 fucking times with a knife. Jesus Christ.
And the fact that he just had that on his person was what the fuck, dude? Like,
and almost, according to New Jack, I swear, before every one of these stories, he is like high as balls on cocaine.
Yeah. He would always in the interviews be like, man, I was just coked out of my fucking mind. I'm like, that probably explains 90% of it.
Because that's what's so, like, I guess frustrating about New Jack as a wrestler is that he kind of, like, openly admits to all these sort of outright criminal acts, and there's never really been much in the way of, like, repercussions for his actions, and he's been working fairly consistently since the, 80s and 90s, and he still gets booked today. And, like, I'm sure because of the Dark Side of the Ring, that only sort of, like, ups his notoriety and his infamy. Because, like, as much as we enjoy wrestling does have a dark side, hence this documentary series. Because there's a lot of gross people and like, bad politics and just sort of, like, bad things that happen. And unfortunately, there's still a lot of, like, crooked people that run shows, and they'll book people who are, like, have a certain amount of infamy just sort of for the buzz of, like, hey, we got this fucked up dude in the show. This will get those people be like, what the fuck? Let's go see that.
Yeah, and another thing that's, oh God, he, of course, because of the Dark Side of the Ring, New Jack is all up on Twitter, like, just like, good for you, enjoy your fucking success, even though you're successful at being a piece of shit. And like, there's this one tweet that really pissed me off. I don't know it like word for word. I might have taken a screenshot. I don't remember, but it was something along the lines of I guess he was watching WWE recently, and he saw Kevin Owens, who is actually a good wrestler, who can actually fucking perform in the ring.
And is also a really good human being.
Yes. And apparently he did a dive or something off of something. Like, Kevin Owens has taken some pretty, like, nasty looking bumps in his career. Like, not just in WWE, but like, you know, Ring of Honor, the Indies, all kinds of things. And then New Jack's going to be like, I saw this fat fuck doing a dive or a belly flop or whatever he wants to call it. Motherfucker, stop trying to be me. And I was like, as much as I wanted to get into his mention so bad and just, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have amounted to anything because it's just giving him more attention. But, you know, still, when people say stupid shit like that, like Trapped, that's something we've been getting into during this quarantine. Trapped, the lead singer's a fucking insane person, but I'm getting off track. But yeah, New Jack is just being a real piece of shit. And I guess catching up on Dark Side of the Ring, the latest one was the Brawl for All tournament.
Yeah.
Which made me hate Vince Russo even more to this day.
God, just even hearing him talk, I'm like, God damn, shut the fuck up.
A part of me wants to watch it again because I wasn't paying attention, but he likes to say, bro, it's going to be huge. We're going to fucking do the thing. He's kind of like a Jersey Trump. Like, bro, we got to do the But, like, yeah, the Brawl for All tournament essentially was, hey, why don't we take our professional wrestlers who essentially fake fight to put on shows. Let's see what happens when we put them in a real mixed martial arts boxing match.
Yeah, which was like confusing because it was like, okay, it's going to be a boxing match, but what, like, they can do takedowns, they can like do other things like well, you couldn't do in boxing.
Yeah, I think they were more so trying to go for the mixed martial arts thing.
Yeah, but like the rules were like really vague and confusing, and no one knew what was like. Even the announcer was like, "Is that legal? I don't know."
It's like it just feel like they're making it up as they go along, because Russo's known for putting together like these very like weird, convoluted, like nonsensical like matches and stories, and like that's something he's very infamously known for throughout wrestling. And like this was sort of like a shining moment in a bad way for Vince Russo.
Because according to this episode, the main emphasis, the starting point of the Brawl for All tournament, was him getting tired of hearing JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, talk about in the ring how if professional wrestling was real, then he would beat every motherfucker backstage. So Vince Russo, which I hate the man, but I also hate Bradshaw. I really dislike this man. He's also a piece of shit. And so he's like, okay, well, let's see what happens. So he takes the idea to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon okays it. And then later on down the tournament, Bradshaw gets his fucking head taken off by Bart Gunn. And another weird tidbit about this was supposed to be real fighting. This was supposed to be a shoot. But they were still trying to manipulate the winner because this was supposed to be Dr. Death Steve Williams' push into getting like a main event feud with Steve Austin at the time.
You can't control a real fight.
It's like, this is supposed to be real. You're like, hey, we're going to act like we knocked you out. Like tell them to take a dive or whatever. So like one of like this mid-card guy named Bart Gunn, who was never really like a big thing. He was like in a tag team with Billy Gunn. It was like the Smoking Guns. And I think some tags, I think like the Midnight Express or something like that.
That sounds right.
But anyway, he ends up winning the thing.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's kind of a smaller guy. I mean, but like he knows how to fight. I mean, he was just like clocking dudes.
Yeah. So he ends up winning, and his prize for winning is getting his head taken off by Butterbean at the following year's WrestleMania as some sort of weird punishment for him doing what his bosses told him to do.
Yeah, that's like, I always heard stories of Vince McMahon being a fucking shithead, but just how like vindictive he is of just like, it's like, dude, fuck off. It's not that important.
Yeah, like that thing,
so you lost like $1,000, whoop-de fucking do.
And I think that ultimately, like, was the catalyst to end Dr. Death's wrestling career too, because if I remember correctly, he didn't wrestle again after that. I think he popped up in WCW a little bit. I'm not 100% sure if he wrestled or not, but yeah, Dark Side of the Ring. That's another show. That's about all the shows that I've been actually keeping up with during this time in the world.
I think the last show I was watching, and it's sort of like a nice sort of break from sort of the more heavy material we were discussing, like Narcos, Dark Side of the Ring, True Detective, like very like.
They are definitely very
morbid, morose, and like cynical views. The show I was really getting into is it's sort of like what my reprieve is for the more morbid stuff. I've been watching a lot of Riverdale lately, and it's so much fun. It's dumb as shit, but it's so good to watch because if you don't know, Riverdale is sort of like the modern teen drama reimagining of the Archie comics. You know, Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, their whole gang. First season is about teen mystery, murder, drama, and like one of the kids gets murdered, and they sort of all the kids getting together to figure out who killed this kid. And there's a lot of sex, there's a lot of really dumb drama, people hooking up, smooching, like flip-flopping who they're talking to. And one of the things I love about the show is just how like wildly inconsistent it can be. Because like there are so many times in just the first 3 seasons where they'll make a point, they'll like start a story and then it's just never mentioned again. There's a really great bit in the second season where, spoilers for Riverdale I guess, where there's a serial killer running around and there's this one girl who they sort of give focus on for a couple episodes, how it seems like she's being targeted by the killer, like he's leaving like creepy notes. You feel like she's being followed, and it's like it ends up with like an organ or a heart being found in her locker. And so it sort of built up to that the murderer is sort of stalking her. And in the episode, or like partway through the episode, it's revealed that one of the kids kind of did that, some kind of weird affection towards her, and then it's just dropped. It's just not mentioned ever again.
So Vince Russo is writing Riverdale is what you're telling me.
Yeah. I'm not convinced that Vince Russo isn't moonlighting as a writer on Riverdale because there's just so much weird stuff in there that just makes no goddamn sense, and it's just wonderful. Like in the serial killer season, like Archie's, who's the dumbest person on the face of the fucking earth. It's like, I'm just a genuine guy, but I have to help, I have to save everybody, I have to fix everybody's problems, but I do it really badly because his father gets shot by the killer. You know, spoiler. You know, it doesn't matter. It's just fucking stupid. And his father gets shot. His father recovers, but Archie's just like so mad. It's like, my dad was hurt and I couldn't help him, so I'm going to start a vigilante force with teenagers. We'll just get all the football teams just going to rally up and get a baseball bat and just like patrol the streets. And what he does to sort of signify his hard stance, serial killers in this.
He's tough on crime.
Yeah, his hard stuff on crime. This weirdly 1950s / modern era town. Is that he posts a video to YouTube. Him's like, we're the red circle. Like he's kind of like, this is the name of my vigilante crew. We're coming for you, serial killer. And he's flanked on all sides by like shirtless ripped dudes and like red ski masks. It's like, yeah, this Kevin Kline underwear model video is supposed to strike heart into a serial killer and ward off crime, and it's so fucking goofy. I love it so much.
It sounds like a CW show.
It is a CW.
And this is a CW show that CW hasn't made.
I mean, this is coming from a huge Supernatural fan. I'm not caught up, but goddamn, I love Supernatural. Like, yeah, I do. Except for season 7.
I remember my sister used to watch Supernatural, taking that Divergence for a second, and because it was supposed to be, it was scripted for 5 seasons, and they got renewed for more after that. And I remember there was some stuff after the 5th season that was just like, this is butt fuck stupid. Because I remember there's one episode that my sister, she loved it at the time. We were watching, she got up and left and never came back.
What was it? Do you remember what happened?
I think it might have been the episode. Either might have been the one about the dragons that survived in the modern day by disguising themselves as human. Yeah. And there's like Excalibur involved or some shit. They go into like a factory, and Excalibur's like in a rock in a factory, and there's like a lady there. I guess she's a lady of the lake, and it's fucking dumb. God, probably one of the worst one was when there's a mannequin that's like stealing people's organs or some shit. It was fucking stupid. I mean, and like I heard after like season 8, it starts to re-rail itself again. But
yeah, I believe so. Because season 7 is when they brought in the fucking Leviathan.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that was dumb, but that season as a whole, it just didn't really click for me. And like some of my favorite episodes of Supernatural are the fucking batshit silly as hell episodes.
No, there's definitely a time and place for like silly fun stuff. But this was like dumb in a bad way. Like
Yeah.
like there's like see for me Riverdale is stupid, but like it's fun stupid.
Yeah.
But like I watch stuff that's like this is dumb. There's a difference between good bad and bad bad. It's extremely subjective and extremely individual taste that's involved. And like I know Riverdale is like definitely one of those shows that can really piss people off because there are people who watch it sincerely. There's people who watch it I guess ironically, but I'm definitely legitimately enjoying it because it's so dumb. And like another good bit that I find myself enjoying how frustrated I get is Jughead in the show, because people who do Archie Comics, Jughead is like he's sort of the laid back big eater guy, just kind of goes with the flow. He's kind of jovial. And this one, he's so, like, morose. Such a fucking little edgelord. Like, the thing is, like, he's pissed off because he's, like, an outcast in the show. Because, like, he grew up poor. He's different. He's weird. Like, but at the same time, he's pissed off that people are treating him differently because he's sort of weird. He fucking wears his persecution like a badge of honor on his chest and a cross on his back. And it's like, you can't have both, you dimwit. And then like they kind of feel like they're kind of flip flopping between both girls. Like kind of feel like Archie fucks Betty, then he's kind of fucking Veronica, which is like how it happens in the comics. But then Jughead's fucking Betty. No, yeah, he's fucking Betty, and Archie's fucking Veronica. And then like Jughead's not really supposed to be into girls because he's now canonically asexual in the comics, because back in the old day he was just like, he didn't like girls because he was just focused on food or whatever, or that was why he was so quirky. But now he's like banging Veronica, or Betty. I can't keep it straight because they keep flip flopping.
Get them titties away from me! Give me a fucking cheeseburger.
And then like he's just a morose little edgelord, and that's what's so fucking goofy. And then like there's a lot of murdering and killing and fucking in this show. And there's Cheryl Blossom, who might have this weird incestuous relationship with her brother, maybe, possibly, who really has a rubber band character. Like, oh, please, I have these humanizing moments to realize that I was sort of neglected by my extremely rich parents. But also, this episode needs a bitch character, so sign me up. I love it. Y'all have to watch Riverdale. It's a goddamn great show.
It sounds like a fun
TV
time.
At its best.
I mean, I can talk shit about CW shows, but like, I watched Arrow religiously until it, gave me Walking Dead syndrome, where the same shit happened every fucking episode.
Where did you fall off on Arrow?
I stopped watching when he decided to stop being Arrow and like marry, get a house with Felicity, I think. I'm not even sure if I finished that whole season.
What season
that was
is
like
that?
4? 5?
I dropped off at the episode where he fought Ra's al Ghul and he fell off a cliff and
he died.
Yeah,
because that's where I fell off. I was like, "Fuck, this is dumb."
Like me and Ollie fell off that same goddamn cliff for different reasons.
I mean, I enjoyed it initially in the beginning. Initially because it was pretty much Batman with a bow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of Green Arrow, you're not going to like that show.
Because it's not Oliver from the comic. He's basically them trying to have Batman, but they can't have Batman.
Which is stupid. Why can't they have Batman?
Because he's in the movies.
Well, that gives us another thing I'll take back to that damn Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's kind of cool. They bring Kevin Conroy as an old, decrepit Bruce Wayne, but he's wearing like a mech suit. And I don't know what it is, like, his first, when it's off camera and he's talking, it's like, oh man, it's Kevin Conroy and everything. And then you see him on screen, and it seems like his Batman, was Bruce Wayne Batman voice, like kind of like falls off, like depending on what's happening in the scene. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of weird. It was kind of cool, but at the same time, it was like, yeah, I don't want to see old ass Batman. Like, I mean, I do want to see old ass Batman if they did like a Batman Beyond thing.
It's just the disparity between the 1990s animated series Batman voice and just Kevin Conroy, like his physicality, because like he's an older man, very like thin bodied, so like and plus like there's something really kind of uncanny about hearing like a cartoon character's voice come out of the person. Like,
yeah,
there was a live action episode of SpongeBob recently where it had all the voice actors play their roles in real life. So you have like Tom Kenny playing SpongeBob and Clancy Brown playing Mr. Krabs, So like you see the real life actors in a real life setting doing the voices, and it's kind of jarring how it just doesn't seem like that voice could come from a human body.
As someone who hates SpongeBob, hearing you say that makes me hate it even more. I'm in the minority apparently with the whole SpongeBob thing. So.
But speaking of SpongeBob, I've been watching SpongeBob reruns. Oh yeah, because yesterday I was like, I need like you were saying, I need something to fucking distract me from all this news and all the morose shit I'm watching. And like, there is a definite point where SpongeBob just gets god fucking awful. But those first 3 seasons, like, fuck me, they're so good.
I feel like next to The Simpsons, SpongeBob is probably the most like mimetic cartoon like out there.
Oh yeah, because it's just, I don't know. You can just see a picture and just hear the lines or the jokes or anything.
Or you can like hear the characters' voices in your head. Like I remember reading like the Simpsons comic, hearing every person's voice crystal clear because like the Simpsons is just so ingrained in like popular culture that you just know the voices right away, even if you have like a non-audio format, you can still envision those characters perfectly.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like the Simpsons, it's gone on for way too long and needs to stop.
But if you learn anything, as long as it makes some kind of profit, people will continue to make it.
Mm-hmm. Indeedy reedy.
And we talked a lot about movies. So what have we been playing recently? If we're kind of sitting at home and we can't watch everything all the day, we need to be more active. So we kind of turn to games. So what have y'all been playing?
I've been mostly playing the Resident Evil 2 remake because my Final Fantasy 7 is still not here. God damn it! I don't know. The UPS thing says it's here, but
ooh.
So I might have a little surprise after this episode.
Shit, yeah.
But yeah, I've been playing Resident Evil 2 remake, and I believe it has surpassed 4 as my favorite in the series because there was a summer where that was the only game I played. I would literally like beat it and restart it because it was just so fun. And like even now, I could tell you all about. I could probably like draw out the map to every location in that fucking game. God, just this game is like genuinely terrifying, and I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared for that at all.
Because like he's not lying, because I remember there was one night earlier this week, and I'm kind of like in my room, and I just hear Johnson scream, and like the whole house is pitch black, and like I come out in the living room, and it's like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Are you okay? Because he like, this is like a legit loud yell, and my deaf ass could hear him in the back of the house.
Yeah, and like I've been trying to not be like super animated when that stuff like that happens, but you can't help but just fucking scream.
Oh yeah, there have been times where I'll just like walk into the kitchen and grab something, and I'll start watching you play, and something will get us both. And like, oh shit!
Because like, I remember that too. Like I was coming to get a glass of water, and I come in just to like the threshold of the living room, and you both like jump and shout, and I was like, okay, like,
because I was in the library, and I was kind of like fucking around, and I was in the clock tower, and I hear Mr. X, and I thought I heard him behind me. I'm like, fuck, I need to run. I open the door, he's right there, and just immediately punches me in the face. I'm like, what the shit? I mean, it's a pretty faithful recreation of the original Resident Evil 2, just updated for 2019. And God, you can. I played Claire's scenario first, and kind of played it, with the new music and everything, and the new costumes. But with Leon's playthrough, I switched to the classic costumes and the classic music, and just walking into that save room and hearing that music, I'm like, fuck. The only really criticism I have of the game are the boss fights are fucking infuriating, because, and this is not a new criticism for Resident Evil. I think there have been some games where the bosses have been good, but they're very few and far between. It's basically to kind of just get rid of all your ammo that you stocked up. But like, especially a lot of the William Birkin fights in Resident Evil 2 are just, you're in very tight areas, and he's just this big fuck all monster. So you're having to like bob and weave out of him, like literally eviscerating you. But I think it's the second to last fight with him. You're in this area where he just starts like throwing these giant canisters at you. And like your running speed is like really slow. So if you don't like start immediately running, he will literally like throw it across the map and hit your ass. And it will take you from green to immediately red. I'm just like, oh, this is fucking bullshit. But yeah, it's like genuinely like terrifying. I was just not, cause like I really love Resident Evil 4, but that game is not super scary. Like the parts in the village are kind of spooky, like especially with the chainsaw guy and everything. And I guess it's because I've played it so much. It's kind of, I've wrung out all the fear from it. But with this one, it's not just like jump scares. It's just, even unlike the original Resident Evil 2, like a lot of the hallways are just dark and you can't really see anything, and the sound design in the game is immaculate. But yeah, I definitely, if you have not played it, all like two of you, I highly recommend Resident Evil 2 Remake.
I don't appreciate you calling me out like that, Jonathan.
Yes.
Well, I played the second one like on PS1.
Yeah.
That was the first Resident Evil game that I completed start to finish in one day. I can almost remember the clock. I know it was like at 9 hours. It was like me and my cousin, we were like flip-flopping the controller playing it. I think it was only just the one story, like one side, because you can play both again, right, in that one?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was the first Resident Evil I ever beat start to finish.
You're playing a game, Vampire?
Yeah, I started Vampire about a week or so ago. Well, I should say again, because I bought the game. I'd heard about it on like reviews and such online, and it looked pretty interesting. Very dialogue, story driven, because you play this doctor who had just come back from the war. It's happening during, I think, 1918, during the Spanish flu epidemic.
Yeah.
Like you're going through the city, you're like seeing signs saying, cover your mouth, don't try not to cough in public. Wear masks, shit like that.
It's
I'm
like,
just like,
ain't
whoa,
getting close to home.
Like that's got a little fucking eerie. It kind of plays like a Souls game almost. I don't think it's hard as it. Although I got stuck on this mission where I have to get something. I think I'm only like a level 15, but the baddie that's in my way is a level 25, and that's one hit and you're fucking dead. So it has a really cool concept because you literally have conversations with everybody you meet in the game. And the way their XP system works is the more you find out about this person, better blood content they have, which is essentially their XP. So you meet somebody and, get buddy-buddy with them or, chat with them a lot, and you find out either good or shady things about them, and they'll get like 3,000 XP, 6,000 XP, because you could progress, get XP throughout, playing and whatnot, but it's not a lot. So you have to make choices like, am I going to take this person out and get that and beef up my XP so I can go longer in the game? But it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, because the more people you take out in a certain area... Oh, shit.
Wait, does Jonathan have a special delivery in the house?
Oh, my God. I think we got it, folks. I'm going to pause my vampire talk because I think Jonathan just got Final Fantasy.
Will this be the very first unboxing on a podcast?
Yeah, like, because you can totally see it.
But anyway, while the more people you take out, the worse off that part of town gets. And like people start getting sick, and people start getting sick because, of course, you're also a doctor, and you can collect things throughout the world where you can make medicine for these people to get them better, to get their blood content or XP level higher for you to take out later. And it's, I don't know, I kind of stopped playing it because of that, because of me getting stuck there. I'm like Jonathan said earlier, I've been kind of like wishy-washy on what I've been more so playing than like watching these days, because like right now, as of a few days ago, I dove back into Marvel's Spider-Man, the PS4 game.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing fucking game. And I also bought the City That Never Sleeps DLC, which is basically that game's season pass, because it was on sale for $12. So I was like, well, the fuck yeah.
Why not?
Why not? And I haven't gotten to that the DLC portions yet because I'm in the middle of my ultimate playthrough, which is the hardest difficulty in the game.
How hard is it compared to?
It doesn't get bad until the end because you see I'm also playing it on New Game Plus.
Oh, so you have all your stuff you got from previous playthroughs.
Yeah, I have all my gear. I have all my specific web shooters for that game, like different web attachments and whatnot. And like I said, like I've been playing it on this, so I was finally able to get the last couple of gadgets. So I officially have all the gadgets that Spider-Man has in this game. But the longer you get into the game, the harder the enemies get because they have like armor and different weapons, and because now the point I'm in the game, everybody's like coming at you at once.
Oh yeah,
and it's insane. Like it's not the hardest game I've ever played, but last night was the first time since I started playing Spider-Man again that I was just like, I gotta take a break. I'm getting fucking pissed. I gotta go take a breather. But it is for those of you with a PlayStation, if you haven't played Spider-Man, you really need to get it. Like the Batman games have been like, it has a fighting mechanic like the Batman Arkham games, and I think this game has surpassed those games for me. And I am like the biggest Batman fan you'll ever meet in your life, but Spider-Man is where it's at. You get like so many different outfits. You can like switch your outfit like while you're swinging in midair. So many different costumes. It's a beautiful game. I don't even have a Pro. I have just the regular PlayStation, and it's smooth as butter. The graphics are insane. Characters, the voice acting is phenomenal. There's even a Stan Lee cameo in there too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he is the owner of a diner, like you and MJ. Like you and MJ during this game, y'all are split up. You're working for Dr. Octavius, and Mary Jane actually works for the Daily Bugle.
Okay.
Yeah, they've changed some things around. Like Miles Morales is in this universe, which I'm not too familiar with. I've been reading the current Amazing Spider-Man run, but that's about it. For my understanding, Miles and Peter were not initially in the same universe.
Yeah, because Miles was in the Ultimate Universe.
Yeah.
And then once, what was it? Ultimatum was the...
No, Ultimatum came way before that. It was Secret Wars, because that was sort of like their retiring of the Ultimate Universe, because it started like in the 2000s, and it's intended to be sort of like a very streamlined version of the Marvel Universe. It kind of got a little too grandiose and wild for its own good. So, but then, like after Secret Wars, they sort of enveloped a lot of the things that were very popular and I feel like still work for the Ultimate Universe. They sort of integrated that into the main Marvel Universe, and that's sort of why Miles is now in the mainstream Marvel comics. But to your point, I do like that because it gives this sort of story of Spider-Man like its own unique flavor.
Yeah,
because like I love Spider-Man too, but I feel like people get a little too caught up in like making every version of Spider-Man have like the same beat points, like
right.
Because there's certain things that you kind of like that kind of have to be established for Spider-Man, but at the same time, I kind of don't want to see the exact same story each time. Like there's so much in Spider-Man and so much that has been done with it. Like you're allowed to do something different with it, and I feel that makes it still okay. Like I remember there was a Spider-Man cartoon a while back. I think it was Ultimate Spider-Man on Disney XD. Mm-hmm. In any case, there's a Spider-Man cartoon where Venom was Harry Osborn instead of Eddie Brock.
Okay.
It was just like that was like a big reveal because Venom was sort of showing around, and then he reveals himself to Peter as Harry, and it's like that's a big twist, which I thought was neat and different, and he wasn't like really antagonistic towards Peter at first, and then at least that reveal. So like, hey man, check this out, I'm Venom, dude. And plus there's a lot of different things that come up, but I do like how they're kind of turning what's known about Spider-Man on its head and giving you a unique flavor for the game.
Yeah, but this one chapter that I've arrived in the game, again, it's harkening back to Vampire. There's this chemical that if used in the right ways can like save a lot of lives, help a lot of people. But it hasn't been fully perfected yet, and it's called Dragon's Breath. And spoilers, Dr. Octavius, he releases dragon's breath throughout New York, and now everybody is wearing masks and coughing up blood and fucking dying from this shit. This is 2 games that I've been playing.
You're trying to play, get a game to escape from reality, but it just keeps reminding you of the worst way.
It's so fucking bizarre. It just, I don't know how this happened. It just did. Everything else on the game front, like Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, they have Warzone, they have their own Battle Royale now. I don't think I have to spend too much time on that one. But going back for a much older game, there's this channel on YouTube that I've been watching recently that takes deep dives into older wrestling games, because I love wrestling video games when they're good. 2K20, I might buy you when you're $5, but not until then.
I think that would even be too much.
But he did I guess like a somewhat documentary or like a retrospect of WWE All-Stars, which is probably one of my favorite wrestling games of all time. It is not your run-of-the-mill simulation wrestling game by any means. The character models are highly exaggerated. These are like super cartoonish, beefed-up meatheads. Although John Cena's character model might have been modeled after what he looked like at the time, because that's a huge man. But it plays more so like a fighting game than an actual wrestling game, and that's kind of why I like it. Not so much in the Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, where you have to learn like certain combos and whatnot. But you hit a button, you got your weak attacks, your strong attacks. When you do like signature and finishing moves, they are like super, like you're basically like going like Super Saiyan, like throwing motherfuckers around everywhere. Like the best example I can think of, let's take Eddie Guerrero for instance. Like if you get your finishing move, you can literally store your finisher, and as soon as you hit the button, you do, no matter where you are in the ring, you hit a backflip, land on the turnbuckle, and just jump off the turnbuckle like 15 feet in the air, do a flip, and hit a frog splash. You got like Sheamus doing his Celtic Cross, where he's like, you hold him up by their arms and you jump again like 20-something feet in the air and slamming them down for pile drivers and whatnot. And it's so much fun. And like if you get on the turnbuckle and you jump at a motherfucker, it's actually harder to miss somebody than actually, because you'll hit it almost every time. Like when a computer gets on the turnbuckle to do an offensive move on me, like, and I try to run away, he hits me every time.
Yeah, no matter where you're at on the ring.
Like it's insane. It's one of my favorites, and I've also went back to WWE 13 a little bit. It's a basic wrestling game, but it played more arcadey than the 2K games that we have now. Plus, it has Attitude Era mode, one of the best times to watch wrestling, and you get to relive some of the biggest and best matches that happened during the Attitude Era. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. Last night, I was literally not changing costumes, because the creation suite, it was advanced, but if you wanted to change regular wrestlers' attires, really all you can do is like change their colors. So last night I spent like just about an hour just like making alternative costumes to some of the wrestlers that were on the game. It was actually pretty fun. I was just sitting there listening to a podcast and just changing people around a little bit. It was a fun time.
I know when Justin he would get the 2K games, like he would make like all of us and like very detailed like character models and the creator wrestler for all of us, like with like all of us have music and entrances and animations. So like the creative character in the 2K games has always been like very in depth, and I feel like that's one of the, like a fond memory I have like adjacent to the series, even though I haven't really played it. But a game I have been playing is very much like an escape from some of the morbidity of life at the moment is Animal Crossing New Horizons, and that's pretty much my go-to game that I've been playing consistently ever since it came out. It's just a lush, like lighthearted, like wonderful world to sort of explore. And one thing I really enjoyed about this game is sort of like the acclimation of your player to the overall world. I feel like they sort of section off the game in like very good ways, where you feel like you're like growing with the game and like learning about crafting and getting your items and sort of like explore the world in sort of sections. You cross the river, you get to go explore sort of the the lateral parts of your island. Then you get the ladder. You go to like the more vertical areas, and sort of like it all unfolds at a very good pace. And it's been a good way to socialize when we can't do it physically, because like just about everybody I know has Animal Crossing. I've gone to their towns. They come to mine, and like my sister plays. She doesn't play video games at all, but she loves Animal Crossing. We all played as a family back. Wild World came out on the DS, gosh, probably close to 10 years ago now, and that was like a very fun thing for my family that we did, and just sort of like hearing everybody talking about it, and just like in a greater sense, like if you go online, at least for me, that's like at least half of what people are talking about. It's just like it's a great way to escape sort of like the uncertainty and the fear that's going on right now, because like you have like this cute little world filled with animals and like, you know, nature that you can control very literally to a very minute degree once you unlock terraforming and like alien creation. And there's no right or wrong way to play. You sort of wake up and you start your day. You plant flowers. You pick fruit. You garden. You look for fossils and insects and fish. And it's a wholesome, positive experience in a video game that I feel like it's definitely helping people get by right now. And it's just like something I play like an hour a day. And it's sort of just like before bed, or just like when I'm just in a funk, and just like it kind of kicks me out. And I feel like it's my chill out time. My like times I can just sort of like, I know it's something I can control and sort of do and make right in my own way in this game. And like I feel like it gives sort of maybe a meaning and a purpose for people who kind of feel like they don't know where to go right now.
Liz always shows me how her island's going, and she's got a nice little pretty island, got a little garden, so many like pretty little flowers everywhere. I love watching her play it when at night, because apparently spiders come out.
Oh yeah, because in this game, like in Wild World, there are tarantulas, and they're mean sons of bitches, because they will actively chase you, and if they bite you, you pass out. And like, but the trick is, they're worth a shit ton of money, so that's why people try to catch them, but they're really hard to catch.
Yeah, it's just fun because like she hates spiders, and like I remember one time she caught one, and I think it like shows you're like holding, like if you caught a fish or something, it shows you like, hey, look what I got. But she had got a spider, but there was one right behind her, and like as soon as she got out of that shot, the spider got her. She's like, whoa! It's funny, like, man. Sometimes it sucks being the only one in the house without a Switch. I've been like really thinking about getting one here lately, but apparently they're fucking almost sold out everywhere because of this.
Really?
Like apparently people have been buying the shit out of the Switch. And like some places are like marking up the prices because of it, which is bullshit.
That is predatory.
I know my sister, she had to really look around for hers. Like she bought hers online. I think she went through on GameStop's website, but I don't know, for whatever reason, her game, because she bought Animal Crossing and a Switch Lite, and they came separately, so she had to wait like an extra day to get her Switch because the game came first.
Oh fuck!
And we played together last night for the first time, and that just brought me back so many memories of just like, because when we played Wild World for the DS, it was literally my sister, myself, and our two cousins, and we literally shared one game because 4 people can live in the same house in one game. And we sort of pass it back and forth. Like, we would get it for 2 weeks or a week or two, then they would get it. And we sort of just, like, leave little stuff for others to find. Like, we kind of, like, chop down trees, dig holes, kind of like have, like, goose with each other. And then eventually we all got our own games and got our own towns. And it's sort of like this weird, like, moving away from home moment. And then, like, and us coming back to it with New Horizons has been a lot of fun. Like I said, my sister does not play games, has no interest in games. But then when she found out that New Horizons came out, she literally called me up. It's like, hey, give me your Switch so I can play Animal Crossing. And it's like, we are in quarantine. I can't give it to you. You got to buy your own. And it's just like, damn it. And but speaking of games, one last game we want to talk about, and that was the Final Fantasy Remake. And with our first podcast unboxing, and because Jonathan did get that in the mail, what was in your package there?
I didn't get the big fuck all one that was like $400, which like the tiers for this was like, you got the regular game is $60, you got the one I got, which was about $80, $90, and then $400.
Jesus Christ.
Why don't you tell us what came in that $400 tier?
The only difference between the one I have and the $400 tier is this like big fuck all, really detailed statue of Cloud and his motorcycle.
And this sumbitch is huge too. It's like well over a foot long.
I don't know.
It's definitely like a mantelpiece.
Yeah, 100%.
So what did your version of the game come with? Like, was it a bigger box? Did it come with like any extra like swag or goodies?
Yeah, I got me a lanyard because I ordered it from the Square Enix store, and
Hell yeah.
you better believe I'm replacing mine with this. Comes with the game itself, a mini CD soundtrack, some extra like DLC summons, and then a art book. Once I get this fucking thing open,
Yeah, let's get some like ASMR with that crinkly package. Is gonna get somebody turned
You
on.
can probably use that lanyard for if we ever get to go to these cons. You can put your badge on that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because while he's opening that, because we had actually had quite a few cons planned to go to together, and of course with COVID, all those would have been rescheduled because literally it was supposed to be this is supposed to be this week. We were supposed to go to Huntsville.
Next week we're supposed to be in Huntsville. Yeah.
Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo in Huntsville, Alabama. That's about 2 hours north of us, and we were really looking forward to that. And that's postponed until August, and I guess we'll have to.
Oh, July.
July, excuse me, and that we'll have to see how it goes. But okay, Jonathan's got his box open. So what's in that box? How does that look?
Alrighty, so got the actual game itself.
Look at that box art. Y'all can't see it, but we can. It's pretty.
Yeah, the box art is very indicative like of the old G cover, white with like Cloud with the sword in his back, facing up to the evil mega corporation that he has to take down.
And then a steel book.
Oh, so you got a regular case and a steelbook case?
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
And on the steelbook case, it's just like this black cover with the Final Fantasy logo on the back, and Sephiroth wreathed in flames in front of the corporation on the front.
So let's see.
On the inside, it's basically the cover of the OG case again. It's Cloud and his sword, and the on one side, and on the other side is the corporation's tower. And then he also has the soundtrack disc. How extensive is the soundtrack?
Oh, this is a very limited soundtrack. It only has like 12 tracks, and then a little mini art book, which has like a lot of item designs, character designs, monster designs.
I think I saw Bahamut.
Yeah.
I've never really gotten into Final Fantasy. My friend that I play online games with, he told me that even I would probably enjoy this game because it's kind of just like a third-person action game with some RPG elements.
Yeah, they've really overhauled the combat because usually with RPGs, it's usually turn-based or like action, like Kingdom Hearts. And you really just cannot do an in-between, but they somehow have done it. And it worked. And it's a fucking gorgeous game. And so far, like, all the reviews about it are pretty good. Because this is only part one. They're doing it episodically.
Is it going to be like in DLC form or?
No, it's like separate games.
Oh, shit.
So they're breaking down the game essentially into different parts. Like this is like, and all like they'll probably make like a trilogy of it. So this is essentially, ostensibly, the first third of the game, we'll say, with like some added content. Because it's not only it's a remake structurally of the game, but they also like it's an enhanced remake with like new content, new story information. They took stuff from like the overall expanded Final Fantasy universe and story of itself, and sort of incorporated that the pieces that worked it back into the remake.
Yeah, I've been reading reviews, and there have been some people that said, yeah, this game is kind of fillery in the middle, which that was one of the big things I was worried about, because the chunk of this game that it's adapting from the original one from the PlayStation is literally the first 5 hours.
Oh, wow.
Out of if you don't do any of the extra stuff, a 40-hour game.
Shit.
Yeah, so hopefully what my idea, and granted, this could be different depending on, because apparently the ending to this game is like fucking bonkers, because the original game came in 3 discs because it was so big. So hopefully like they'll just do the rest of disc 1 for the next one, and then do disc 2 and 3 for the last one, because I think like structurally that would work, but I don't know.
I mean, is there any word on like how did they already have a plan to make it a 3-parter, or is it just like, okay, here's the first one, let's see how it goes?
They've just said it's going to be episodic, and one of the last, I think it might have been E3 last year, they were like, we don't know how many parts this thing is going to be, so it's like, I hope they don't super balloon everything out. Like, I hope they kind of, with the next two, it's a little more focused.
Nah, 'cause
It's just like trilogies are very like common in like any sort of media. So like you would hope it would be Final Fantasy 7, 1, 2, and 3. That's a manageable way to break down a big story into chunks and still gives like some stuff to expand upon, so it doesn't feel like you're playing like a tiny portion of the game, and it feels like, you know, and it shows. I feel like as long as they take the time to plan it out, it could really be something special. Because already I've seen a lot of people just loving and gushing on this game already, and you know, we played the demo about a month ago. You can find on our YouTube YouTube/AllYouCanHear, and just that demo, it's like an hour and a half long, and it's a lot of fun. And me, like I fumbled my way through it, but it's still like very satisfying to play. You know, you're just taking your sword and you're just mowing down the enemies. You're casting magic, and the boss of that game of that demo is like it's challenging, but like it's still fun too. So I feel like it'd be very interesting to see you play. I think it'd be worth your time to check it out.
Yeah, the only bits of Final Fantasy that I've ever really dabbled with was, I remember, I think there was a demo for, was it 15?
Yeah.
Is it the one where you're like riding around in a car
with
like two of your buddies? And I mean, that was pretty cool. I played that demo, and I guess if Kingdom Hearts counts, I played the original Kingdom Hearts on the PS2 for a little bit, and our friend Bradley got me Kingdom Hearts 3 for the PS4. I played that for a little while. It's pretty cool. I don't even think the people who wrote the story of Kingdom Hearts know what the hell's going on. So,
yeah, because at least my introduction with Kingdom Hearts is literally I played the second game first, and needless to say, I had no fucking idea what was going on.
Because I made the mistake of because with 3. They give you, like, the story so far. There's, like, 8 fucking videos.
Yes!
And they're all maybe, like, 3 to 4 minutes long. But I'm just like, I watched them all, and I was like, okay, that told me nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't condense it into, like, these little digestible chunks. You have to play, like...
You kind of have to be, like, more or less baptized in this series to, like... to really get a grasp of the story. But at the same time, that's, I think, part of the series' charm. There might be some people out there who take the lore of Kingdom Hearts like very seriously, but I think at this point, people just like, yeah, the story's butt crazy, but that's why we like it, because it makes the goddamn sense.
Yeah, but and it's so, like, there's a lot of, like, really stupid shit, but that game has brought me to fucking tears. Just at how emotional it can be. And I'm like, why are you doing this to me, Mickey? Why are you making me cry? You fucking mouse, you little shit. Why are you making me cry?
Yeah, it's like, I do appreciate it to that level, because at least in the Kingdom Hearts games, it has characters that I know and have grown up with. And I'm actually pretty hyped. I haven't gotten there yet, but whenever I get back into Kingdom Hearts 3, if that ever happens, I know that there's a Toy Story world. And
I've played it, and it's really fun.
Yes. I'm all for that.
Plus, I just imagine someone like you who doesn't have like a very big exposure in anime, like very Japanese stories. You have all these like Disney movies, and then just like right next to him is just like this super anime looking character, and it's just like, this is such a shock to the system. It's super jarring.
And I mean, Kingdom Hearts is like, it's like playing an anime.
Yeah.
Like, no joke.
We talked about games. We talked about shows. What are some of the movies we've been watching lately?
I finally watched Incredibles 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you like it?
That?
I really enjoyed it. Liz and I watched it. It's still on Netflix. I believe their contract's still ongoing until it goes to Disney Plus. But it takes, because the first Incredibles, which until all of us saw Onward in the theaters before the world shut down, was the first Pixar movie that I'd seen since high school. That was my sophomore year of high school, and I'm very behind on my Pixar. That's why I'm glad that we have access to Disney Plus now, because it's all there and I can finally watch the stuff. But The Incredibles 2, it literally picks up where the first one left off. Like, God, what has it been? Like,
it was like 14 years or something like that.
It's like Incredibles 1 came out, what, 2004?
I think that sounds right.
That sounds right, yeah.
Because I know that was like in middle school, like late middle school when that came out.
God, I was in elementary school. Y'all are making me feel young.
I was a sophomore in high school. What are you yeah, but
I'm baby.
It's really good. It's not a bad movie. I still like the first one more. But
well, I mean, the first one's a classic.
Yeah, it's the best Fantastic Four movie we've ever seen. We've ever had.
You're not wrong.
And it picks up. It's basically, superheroes are outlawed. Still, isn't that the story from the first one? It's been a while.
Yeah, they get after like some like people get sued for like damages. The superheroes start being outlawed.
So, are you telling me that The Incredibles is basically the beginning of what became The Boys? Did The Incredibles inspire The Boys graphic novels?
Probably.
I mean, I remember them being out about the same time because I remember The Boys came out like the early mid-2000s.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't think The Boys are not necessarily illegal, but they just need to be kept in check because they fuck up a lot of shit, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, superheroes are outlawed, but this character who's like a multi-millionaire who owns like the biggest communications company in this universe. It's played by Bob Odenkirk. Saul Goodman himself. That made me happy.
Hell yeah.
And they get in contact with Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, and they want to get superheroes back up and going. But they go with Elastigirl to be like their, what's the word? Like, I guess, poster child or whatever.
Yeah, they're like spokesperson.
Yeah. So they want to start off with her, and Mr. Incredible is a little butthurt about this because now he has to stay home and take care of the kids, and they have this baby, which like the audience knows after the first Incredibles movie that this baby has powers, but and of course this is in the trailer too, so it's not really a spoiler, but the dad finds out that Jack has powers, so. And it's just a fun ride. Like a new villain pops up who is trying to muck up the works, and Elastigirl's trying to save the day while Mr. Incredible is just being a stay-at-home dad for a little. Yes, exactly. Michael Keaton, who became a superhero himself. Wow, just fucking twice.
I will say I did enjoy watching Incredibles 2 last summer when we saw it. It definitely kind of follows a similar structure as the first Incredibles, but it's still a fun show. I will say, if you have not seen Incredibles 2, like, just like a heads up, there's a lot of like strobe lighting in this movie. Because how the bad guy sort of does their shtick, and so like if you're like sensitive to that at all, be careful going in, because like I'm not epileptic, but I'm made very, very uncomfortable by like strobing lights. It gives like this weird anxiety I don't appreciate. So like that, and even like the other boys when we saw it with the other lads, they were like, "Ooh, this is like intense," because it's like I swear there's like a solid like 60 seconds in the movie was just like just strobe lights out the ass, but it's still a very solid movie. Watch Armored 2. We saw it as like with like all the lads and Liz and Cannon, and that's like a big kind of like outing for us. The last one before everything got locked up, and that was a lot of fun. Which
in hindsight, I guess was kind of a bad idea, because I guess we didn't understand the scope of what was going on at the time. Because even I was, like, oh man, it's just a super flu, it's fine. But then like the numbers, and then I kept seeing the numbers grow, and I'm like, wow, this is some serious shit.
Yeah.
So,
I'm glad we got to see a movie about exploring the world before we were kind of like sequestered in our own each of our homes.
Yes, which you can see now at home on VOD or Disney Plus. It is on there now.
Yeah, and it is highly recommended. It's good.
My mom was texting me all day about her watching it because I told her about it, and she's like, "Oh, let me check that out." She's been just like, "Wow, this is so cool."
Oh, should we talk about the Wild and Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
Oh, fuck.
You
God,
see,
you just made me have a PTSD flashback.
you see, after Tiger King, after we all went down that rabbit hole, I remembered a little documentary that I saw back in 2009 that was produced by Dick House, the Jackass crew, and I believe this was like an MTV movie, like this MTV Studios kind of thing.
I think so.
And oh my God, it a long time ago. Apparently, it was. I've seen this documentary, but it's been ages. I was turned on this documentary by some people that I did little theater productions with, and they were all about it. It was called The Dancing Outlaw, and there was this guy named Jesco White who was just a really good tap dancer, but he's also just like some like backwoods West Virginia redneck, like threatening to like slice his wife's throat for cooking eggs the wrong way.
Woman, if you want to see the tomorrow, you better start cooking them eggs. I'm tired of these sloppy, slimy eggs.
God, it was so uncomfortable to watch because like Tiger King, it's the whole show is kind of predicated on like, look at these people and they're like gross bad behavior, but there's an extra level of like revulsion that comes to this because as people who sort of lived in like very rural, very poor, like southern towns, there's a lot of behavior and like turns of phrase that sort of this just like kicks in like a fight or flight response of like just like weird bullshit that we had to endure like growing up in like a very rural part of Alabama. God, like, but it's also kind of weirdly funny and upsetting too. Like there's about the matriarch. She's like she has a freak out moment and she just shouts, "My nerves is up, my nerves is up."
And goddamn, the amount of times I've heard that from my more trashier parts of my family, it's like, oh god damn it!
It's like
that hit it. Even more so than Tiger King, this hit like really close to home, and by like halfway through, I was starting to disassociate.
Yeah, like literally everyone in this show, except for probably the mother of everyone, before she ended up dying,
the grandmother.
Yeah, the grandmother, and then the kids. Everybody is on drugs. Everybody is drinking. People are going to jail for like what was that guy in jail for? Like. Was it murder?
Attempted murder.
No, he shot.
He shot that dude in the fucking face.
And his like jaw was like hanging out and shit. But I mean, he lived. But like,
he was the guy who was ended up being like attacked. He was like so nonchalant about the fact that this young guy who kind of got into a tiff with rolled up on him, shot him in the face, like blew his jaw, blew part of his like parts of his body off, and he just kind of like. And he looks fine, like it's like you couldn't tell that he was merely blown to pieces. And he's just like, yeah, I might beat him to death if I ever saw him again. I guess it just depends how I feel.
Well, yeah, he was like, man, you know, because like they were related, right, in some sort of way.
I think he might have been his like stepdad or step uncle,
like an adopted family member.
Because like he was, at one point he was just like, you know, because like you said, it's like if I ever saw him again, I'd probably like shoot his ass. But you know, at the same time, I love him. I'm like,
he's my family.
He's my man.
You're supposed to love your family.
And just there's this one moment. I think it's after one of the girls has a kid and she's in the hospital, and then like her and a friend are just like crushing up Xanax tabs and are snorting it on the hospital table.
And this is literally the next day after this woman gives birth, and she's doing like a line of like Xanax, and it's just like, okay. And then that sort of leads into like one of the big sort of plot points of the movie, spoiler I guess, is that she loses custody of her newborn child, and it's sort of like this really weird winding like road, like how they sort of losing their kids, but also right before they go into rehab, they have like this big night of revelry and debaucheries, like one last thrill before rehab, and they just go like this big, gross bender, just like
snorting drugs off of the back of a toilet at this the worst looking bar. I've been in dive bars before. This is like on a whole other level, and I've been to bars that are like almost there, if not there, and I'm just like, oh my god! And don't forget, everyone in this family looks the same. Like they all have the same face. And don't forget the I've been called the sexiest member of the white family. This is a woman, by the way.
Yeah.
I used to be a stripper back when I was 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, and I'm the sexiest member of the white family, and blah, blah, blah.
And God love her. She jumped off the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way to the bottom.
And she's and like she's still technically the best looking.
Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong.
I mean,
it's just that they all that butt fucking ugly.
Because like they're like just hard living because they've all been like in and out of jail, and like I literally think almost every man is like in jail for like hard crimes, and the story is mostly about the women that were left, and sort of like how they're just like deep into substance abuse, and one of the main characters is like a young mother who sort of like on her trip through rehab, you sort of see her like with her young son, and the young son just zipping around doing
he's the little shit.
God, he is just injecting Coca-Cola into his veins and just bing, 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 just like bouncing.
Around.
This is Dennis.
Fuck Dennis.
Fuck Dennis.
Talking about like his mother's ex, and he's just like shooting birds.
Oh, and she and like that kid's dad is like the mom was like, yeah, I saw him cheating with one of my cousin, so I just stabbed him. And then I had my grandma wipe down the blade so they don't have any evidence, so I didn't go to jail.
Yeah. I guess she had to have been the most strung out of all of them because just the way she talked, it was just so sluggish and always talked like this.
Yeah, and you could tell she was about to drift off in a lot of the interviews.
And probably what makes the documentary like volley so hard between just like weird, fucked up like voyeurism and like kind of like weird haunting, I guess, portrait of humanity is that all these people live in a desperately poor part of West Virginia that's been like historically taken advantage of by like these big mining corporations, and everybody lives there is like more or less deeply impoverished and sort of like resigned to a very harsh way of life, and which is why some of them have just a devil-may-care attitude about life, and they just like and that's why they abuse like drug and alcohol so much, because like they don't really have much in the way to look forward to in life and very little options to escape. So that part was hard to watch, and then like watching the young son talk to his mother about her rehab stint was also really heartbreaking to watch.
Yeah.
Which is like, well, at the same time, you're just seeing like weird, gross titties and like everybody doing coke in the bathroom, and then all of a sudden, just like you have this, young child who's wondering why his mom's gone and why his mom's just not doing what she's supposed to. It's like it's just like tonal clash constantly throughout the show.
And God, and you see a quickie wedding at a pharmacy.
Yeah, because like,
oh my God, the rapey woman.
Yeah,
I forgot about her.
Yeah, because the woman who was cheating on the other cousin's man, she gets out of jail like about halfway through the documentary, and she hits up one of her old boo things, and they're sitting in the car, and she's like, you're gonna fuck me tonight, and he's just like, no, and she just wears him down, and then like literally by the end of the night, they're at a pharmacy, and they got a quickie wedding at like this.
Wait, I think they had gotten married there before because he was with somebody.
Yeah,
I thought that she was talking about that's where they got married.
No, I thought it was they got married. I don't know. Either way, it was like you can get married at like a podunk pharmacy. What?
It also doubles as their town hall. The justice of the peace moonlights there.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck.
But you buried the lead a little bit, because when homegirl gets out of jail, they spend all day driving around the state looking for his ass, and then they more or less kind of abduct him.
Yeah, they and then she's when they're looking for him, she's like, I'm gonna kick his ass. And then when they find him, they're like,
give me that dick.
She's like, let me suck that cock. And it's like, fucking shit.
And like, because she's like trying to force herself to kiss on him, and he's like trying to kiss him, and just like, no, stop. And then like she like takes his clothes off, and then like, but somehow I'm sure they cut out parts where they were like, drinking and snorting stuff excessively. So whatever weird combination of like just wearing him down and like substance abuse kind of led to them like, well, we're back together again. I can't really explain this movie. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like I said, when I saw it originally back in 2009, it was just, I thought it was the craziest thing ever. And after us going down the Tiger King rabbit hole, I was like, hey, let's keep the white trash train a flowing. And we fucking rented that, and I guess in some sort of way, Tiger King has just got me back on documentaries again, because like Dark Side of the Ring, fucking white trash whites. There's so many things on Netflix that I want to check out.
I totally forgot something. When shows, talking about Incredibles reminded me of it. I also, as far as TV shows, watched the Watchmen TV show that came out last year. Not going to spend too much on it. Definitely recommend. It's some of the best television you'll see. It's on HBO if you can have access to it.
I'm excited to check that out.
And I would say, like, for like our last segment, talked about what we've been doing sort of individually to entertain ourselves and sort of keep going. We talked about stuff we're doing, keep ourselves going, but the last bit I want to talk about is like what we've been doing together in order to get by. Because like one of the big things for our group is that we're very close. We like to go out and see each other, but of course quarantining kind of makes that hard. So like literally just about every weekend we would have like these huge Google Hangouts with like the extended gang. And like, because everybody in the house, me, Jonathan, Liz, and Cannon, you sort of meet up with all other friends, friends of the show like Justin and Mac and Mel and Trey and like, all the rest of our gang. And that's been a really big help, just to like be able to see everybody at least on a computer screen and talk. That's been a big help to like morale.
Yeah, that's been fun stuff. In fact, speaking of, Mac just put the link in the Hangout chat, so I guess that one's up and running.
Probably a big thing that we did this weekend was we had a big blowout party for ourselves at the house, and we got food from one of our favorite local restaurants, and that's Pastor's.
Oh, God, it was so good.
Oh, my God.
It's the best Mexican food in town.
It is. Like,
so if you're ever in Tuscaloosa, Pastor's Kitchen.
Yeah, we decided to go with, because they're doing family, I guess just like family platters. They're having like nacho platters, taco platters, quesadilla platters, fajita platters. We decided to go with the fajita platter. And I was like, well, should we go with the feed to 4 to 6 people one or the 8 to 10? So we all just decided to go with the 8 to 10. And we have already made like 3 meals out of this shit. There's still a little bit of the fucking fajita stuff left. And it is... Jonathan's not lying. It is my favorite Mexican food spot here. And they also offered a Whopper 32-ounce container of cheese dip.
So, yeah, we literally got a big gulp of cheese dip.
Just solid cheese. And like, Cannon's been really into queso. And he just had like this like need for queso.
There's nothing better than Mexican food queso. Well, good Mexican food queso, I should say. Because, oh, God, there's this Iguana Grill that shut down. That place sucked anyway.
God. It was so bad, and then it was so expensive. It was the most expensive place in town.
You're paying for the ambiance.
Which was garbage.
But, yeah, that's been really good. And we just, the Hangouts, just yakking it up.
Because we usually get together about, 2 hours or so each week to just, like, catch up and talk and just sort of check in with everybody. And just about every week, you kind of like add one more person to like we haven't heard from a while, just to make sure they're doing okay. And people come in and out, and it's been a great. Cause we're just like doing bits and hanging out, and like we're just like I remember last week we talked about like just like weird funny stuff. Like we pitched like a movie. We talked about like somebody started a sitcom, somebody started a horror movie. Like me selling feet pics for extra cash in quarantine. Fun stuff like that, and comparing people to dwarves and diglets and moles, and like it's just been a great time. And then like, and also this whole quarantine, we've been very well hydrated. And that's been a good thing for morale as well.
Oh, God, I'm still hungover from last night.
Yeah, I think the majority of my drinking is going to happen tonight because I still have a...
boy.
I thought I was going to go full swing last night, but it just didn't happen. So tonight I plan on making up for it.
Yeah, I plan to make it for lost time yesterday. I got a little going, but not like as much. This is like technically for us, 3rd week of quarantine or like whatever our state's weird, loose interpretation of quarantine is.
Yeah, they keep releasing these new stipulations and nothing changes.
Yeah, because as far as I know, this is a thing until at least the end of the month, and then they'll figure out if we're going to be still locked down. Because, God, it's hard to believe. I've been home for 3 weeks. I haven't been to work in 3 weeks. Holy shit. I mean, granted, the first week was, my call because we were given the option. It was like, look, we understand because, I didn't want to get the chance of getting anybody here sick for me going out. But then, ultimately a week ago, they decided my job is full-blown shut down until this is all over.
Yeah. My job is closed to the public, but I'm still having to go in 8 to 5 every week or every day.
In my job, we're going back to full hours next week because we've been slowly acclimating back to regular hours, and it's just aggravating because I did not think my job would be considered essential as the world becomes more and more harrowing, but I guess we just make do. And I think because we have shows and movies and games and good company through virtual means, it makes what we're going through a bit more palatable. It gives us a bit more of a reason to go on, even when we don't know what the next day, next few weeks, the months hold. But it's all about staying on top of things and perseverance. And whatever happens, I know we'll get each other through it. And that doesn't mean saying schmaltzy or try. It's just the truth, and that's how we're gonna make it.
We're gonna get there eventually, folks. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
So. But you know how we get there? Stay the fuck at home.
Stay home.
Stay home.
Get your groceries and go home.
All right, I think we had a good time in just exploring what we've been doing in the corners of our house. We thank you all for listening today. You can follow us online on Twitter and Instagram at AYCH Podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Letterboxd at AllYouCanHear. You can follow us on twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear, and all of our Twitch VODs live in perpetuity on YouTube at youtube.com/AllYouCanHear. You can follow the podcast on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, and any RSS feed catcher. We're out there. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe on those. That really helps us out. Get our information out there. Let us be seen by more people, listened by more people, and we really do appreciate that. And you can follow me, Patrick, on Twitter and Instagram at John Lost His Name, and follow my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art.
My name is Jonathan. You can follow me on Twitter at JohnnyBoy24. That's JONNIIBOI24, and Letterboxd at JohnNoneSon12.
And I'm Cannon. As always, you can follow me at That Cannon Guy on Twitter and at That Cannon Guy on Letterboxd.
All right, thank you all so much. We'll be talking to you soon. Take care.
Stay the fuck at home.
Stay home.